Most people treat lighting like an afterthought. Flip a switch and whatever is on the ceiling floods the room. It is functional, sure, but it makes everything in your home look worse, including you. Lighting affects more than just seeing. It shapes how your home feels, how things look, and even how well you sleep. So I'm going to walk you through the biggest lighting mistakes, the rules designers actually follow, and how to apply them in your own home. Most homes run on a single overhead fixture or a row of downlights with no way to adjust them. It works for seeing, but the light is direct, undiffused, and coming from the worst possible angle. So it flattens the room and casts harsh shadows on your face and furniture. It is the same reason photographers never light someone from directly above, because it's the most unflattering angle possible. Sitting on the couch at night, you want a warm pool of light that lets you relax. When you pick up a book, you want light on the book itself. When you're having dinner, you want a table lit without glare in your eyes. Different moments need different light, but most rooms only have one option: everything on or complete darkness. Imagine buying a speaker that only had one volume, max. You'll return it immediately. But that is exactly what most people live with when it comes to their lighting. That is where layering comes in. Instead of one source doing everything, you want 3 to 5 light sources spread across the room at different heights. Designers break these into 3 categories. Ambient lighting, which is your background glow, like soft diffuse light that makes the room comfortable to be in. Think lamps with fabric shades, pendants, or wall sconces. Task lighting, which is light for doing things. A reading lamp beside your armchair, under cabinet lighting in the kitchen, or desk lamp in your office. And accent lighting is what adds depth and drama. Picture lights, wall washers, uplights, anything that highlights art, architecture, or texture. Unless you're prepping for surgery, you don't need your home lit at full brightness. Your home isn't a hospital or a McDonald's. But going too far the other way doesn't work either, because dim corners with not enough light just feels dingy and drab. There's a balance, and it comes from giving yourself options. So in practice, that might look like a table lamp on your sideboard, a floor lamp next to the sofa, a pendant over the dining table, and a picture light on the wall. 4 sources at different heights with different jobs. You're not trying to light the room evenly. You're creating pools of light and shadow that give the space dimension. That is what makes the room feel considered instead of just lit. If you want a simple checklist for lighting, balance, and all the fundamentals that actually make a room feel good, I've put together a free designer home guide with a 45-point checklist to help you when decorating your home. I'll link that down below. Now let's talk about the color of your light, because you can have the perfect setup and still ruin it with the wrong bulbs. Color temperature is measured in Kelvin. For any room where you want to relax, like bedrooms or living rooms, aim for 3000 Kelvin or under. That is the warm golden end of the spectrum, similar to what you get from a candle or a fireplace. And there's a reason it feels so calming. Warm low light actually reduces cortisol, your stress hormone, and lets your body start winding down. It works with your natural sleep cycle instead of against it. For task areas like a home office, you can go up to around 4500 Kelvin, but I'll avoid anything above that as it starts to feel clinical and isn't really suited for home. Whatever you do, avoid daylight bulbs. The name sounds like it'll give you this beautiful, airy, natural light, but it's actually a harsh blue tone light. It is the same temperature hospitals and offices use to keep people alert, which is the last thing you want in your bedroom at 10 p.m. This is why fancy restaurants never use overhead lighting or cool bulbs. Imagine going on a romantic dinner date under office lights. Yeah, that relationship is not making it past dessert. The other mistake is mixing color temperatures in the same room. This happens a lot in bathrooms, where you've got warm toned heat lamps paired with cooler sconces around the mirror. And the clash is immediately obvious. The whole room looks off and your skin tone changes depending on which light you're standing under. So pick one temperature and stick with it throughout the room. But here's a tip most people don't know. Always buy your bulbs from the same brand and same line within a room. 2 bulbs can both say 3000 Kelvin on the box, but look completely different in person. Color rendering varies between manufacturers and even between different lines from the same brand. So if you're using Philips Hue in your living room, use Philips Hue for every lamp in that room. Next time you're shopping for light bulbs, check the packaging for 2 things. The Kelvin number, so everything in the room matches, and the lumens. That is how bright the bulb is. For most lamps around the house, 800 lumens is a good starting point. For bedside lamps, 400 lumens is enough, or get 800 and put them on a dimmer. If you've got a lamp with a thicker shade that can absorb more light, you can go up to 1100. And I'll only use 1600 lumens for workspaces like a garage, unless you've got a dimmer to bring it down. If you've got an open plan space where your kitchen and living area share the same room, go with something in between, like 3000 to 4000 Kelvin. It works as a compromise that feels warm enough for the living side without being too yellow for the kitchen. Now think about how light behaves in nature. It is never static. Throughout the day, it shifts from warm at dawn to cool and bright at noon and back to warm and golden in the evening. Your body evolved to sync with that cycle. It is called your circadian rhythm. So ideally, your home lighting should follow the same pattern. Brighter and cooler during the day, softer and warmer in the evening. And that is exactly what smart bulbs lets you do. They give you control over brightness and temperature. So you can shift a room from functional daytime light to warm evening glow. You can even set them on automatic schedules so that your home follows that natural cycle without you thinking about it. Philips Hue is probably the most popular option and my personal favorite, which I've linked down below. IKEA Smart Light Bulb and Kasa are a solid budget alternative. If you can't swap the bulbs, buying lamps with built-in dimming works too. I also use smart bulbs with motion sensors in my hallway where I don't need lights on all the time but are annoying to fumble for a switch in the dark. And if you've ever gotten up in the middle of the night and been completely blinded by the bathroom light, that is exactly the problem. With smart bulbs or dimmer, you can set a nighttime scene that gives you just enough light to see without jolting your body awake. It works for seasons too, where you can set brighter scenes in winter when the days are short and gray, and dimmer, warmer lights in the evening with blackout curtains in summer when the sun doesn't set until 9 or 10 p.m. Think of the difference between direct sunlight and a slightly cloudy day. One is harsh with strong shadows, high contrast, and it's not flattering. The other is soft, even, and easy on the eyes. That is what you want from your ambient lighting. And the easiest way to get that is to get lamps with a shade. A fabric lampshade, linen pendant, or frosted glass wall sconce, anything that stops you from staring directly at a bare bulb. Now, where you place your lamps matters just as much. In an AD home tour of Troye Sivan's Melbourne house, his lighting designer described their goal as creating a soup of light. That is a perfect way to think about it. You want overlapping pools of light spread across the room, not everything clustered around the sofa with the rest of the room sitting in darkness. So spread your lamps out. As a general rule, anywhere you have a surface is a good spot for one. Sideboards, bookshelves, consoles, nightstands are all good places for lamps. An empty room corner is another great place, especially for floor lamps. Don't worry about overdoing it either. More lamps means more options and more balanced light, and you can always turn them off if you don't need them. If you're not sure where your room needs more light, try this. Take a photo of your room in the morning, at midday, and in the evening. Look at the dark corners and shadow areas. Those are the spots where a lamp will make the biggest difference. And this is where a floor plan makes lighting much easier to get right, which is why I want to thank Rayon Design for sponsoring today's video. Rayon Design is a web-based CAD platform built specifically for interior designers and architects, but it's also very useful if you're planning your own home. What I like about it is that you can create floor plans, elevations, mood boards, schedules, and presentations all in one place, without having to juggle between multiple softwares. This makes it easy to plan your home and map out where all the different lighting sources should go. They also have a huge library with thousands of pre-made CAD blocks, so you can quickly add furniture, lighting, fixtures, and decor without drawing everything from scratch. And if you need something specific, you can use their AI tools to generate custom blocks from an image or even a text prompt. And because Rayon is online, you can keep everything in one shared file, add comments and annotations, and collaborate with the client, partner, builder, or electrician without constantly sending screenshots back and forth. So if you're planning a room, renovating your home, or working on a client project, anyone can sign up to Rayon Design for free using the link here and in the description. And if you can't hardwire anything, there are plenty of rental-friendly options. Plug-in sconces with cord covers look great on a wall. Rechargeable battery-powered lamps are great for spots where there's no outlet nearby. So far, we've talked about diffusing light and spreading it across the room, but there's another layer that separates a well-designed space, and that is where you point the light. If you look at high-end hotels, restaurants, or gallery spaces, you'll notice they almost never light the center of the room. They point light at the walls, at surfaces, and at objects. It's the same idea in photography and filmmaking. They light the subject, not the entire room. And that is how you want to think about lights in your home. Light the things worth looking at, and let the rest fall into the shadow. That does two things at once. When light hits a wall, it bounces back into the room softly, which is essentially indirect lighting. It makes you notice the walls, the height of the ceiling, and the texture of the surfaces, which makes the room feel bigger and more considered. And the shadow it creates gives the room depth. Your brain uses the contrast between light and dark to read volume and texture. Without that contrast, everything looks flat, even in a well-furnished room. So how do you do this in practice? Wall washers and uplights are great. They aim light at the wall instead of into the room, so it washes down the surface and reflects back, which gives you that beautiful depth and texture. LED strips concealed under shelves or cabinets do the same thing on a smaller scale. You can also use side lighting. A floor lamp next to an armchair, for example, hits the furniture and the wall from an angle, which catches the texture of the surface and sculpts the object with shadow. That armchair visually separates from the wall behind it, and the room immediately feels more layered. Angling a spotlight or picture light at artwork or upward at a feature plan creates shadow play on the wall and ceiling that adds a whole other dimension. And this extends to the outside of your home too. At night, an unlit window acts like a dark wall. But if you light your outdoor space with an outdoor lantern, a spotlight in a pot plant, or some string lights, suddenly the view through the window opens up and the room feels like it extends beyond the glass. It is one of the easiest ways to make a room feel bigger at night, and almost nobody does it. Now let's talk about the fixtures themselves, because the wrong one can undo everything we've just covered. The number one mistake is buying based on looks alone. A lamp can look beautiful on display in a store, but if it throws harsh direct light into your eyes, it is not doing its job. Before you buy any fixture, ask yourself two things. What do I need this light to do? And where is the light actually going to go? A bedroom lamp doesn't need to be too bright. It needs to be warm and soft enough to help you wind down. A living room lamp should have a shade that diffuses the light, not an exposed bulb you're staring at from the sofa. A kitchen task light needs to sit above the work surface, not behind you where it casts your own shadow onto the chopping board. There are also a few common fixtures that I'll advise against. First is those trendy bare bulb fixtures, or the ones where the bulb sits inside a wire cage. Unless the light bulb is frosted, they cast harsh, unflattering light and glare directly into your eyes, especially if they're used as the main work light, like above a dining table or kitchen countertop. Second is visible LED strips lining walls and ceilings. The dots are ugly and jarring. LED strips are meant to be concealed inside a diffuser or hidden behind a furniture, so you get that even diffused light. Once you've got the function right, the last step is making sure your fixtures feel cohesive with the rest of the room. One of the simplest ways to do this is tying your lighting fixtures to your hardware. If your kitchen has brass handles, a lamp with a brass accent can tie it together. This applies beyond metals too. If you've got a walnut on your coffee table, a lamp with walnut base can tie them together. You're not trying to match everything exactly. You just want to create that visual thread. And if you're planning the lighting for an entire home, it helps to sketch it out on a floor plan so you can see how everything works together. If you enjoyed this video, check out this video on the psychology behind every beautiful home, or this playlist of 5 videos to transform your home in under 60 minutes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.